Hi, everybody. This is day 1668 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered treasonously on Fort Bliss. On Fort Bliss, treason on Fort Bliss, murder of a whistleblower soldier, young whistleblower soldier, reporting on criminal trafficking. Um, so it's been another crazy day. Every day, new information is coming out, and we have to assess it, right? We have to assess it. We have to look at it. It's just so unbelievable. And on this day, and of course now it's a day later because we're burning the midnight oil. Burning the midnight oil. Um, I'll make sure that everything's working. Okay, I can see everybody. So we have breaking news, and I want to celebrate the fact that Kash Patel is now the FBI director, right? Absolutely celebrate, praise God that Kash Patel is the FBI director. We have absolutely um, followed Kash Patel for many years. To have him be the director of the FBI. He is more than qualified, and he has stood in the gap, um, stood in the gap to put sanity where there was insanity. Okay. He was a voice of sanity when there was so much insanity. And so, and it really was deception, right? The insanity was deception to make people absolutely fear and go crazy and not visit their family members and all, and then all of the lies and all of the retaliation, all of the framing, the weaponization of the Department of Justice, the weaponization of the FBI against President Trump, against whistleblowers, against MAGA, anybody that wanted to make America great again, against Christians. Um, it was very, very obvious what was happening. And I could give story after story after story for years of the obvious retaliation that was going on and the weaponization against patriots, against anybody that wanted to be law abiding and not stand for this color revolution that was going on in our country that still has to be addressed, right? That is being addressed. It's just such a great time. I think countries all around the world are in awe and are jealous of our leader, jealous of our leadership under President Donald J. Trump. I think they are absolutely, people all over the world are jealous because there is really this uh, elite global effort to to manipulate us and to into a world order that we did not want. We did not want. So this is really a great day to have President Trump have an opportunity. I mean, he's already in 1 month. Um, and if you've been following me, we've been supporters of him, but we're not, we worship Jesus Christ. We worship God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. That's who we worship. We understand President Trump is just a man, but and we did vote for Ron Paul, right? We were these outliers because we just wanted law and order. We just wanted a beautiful, make America great again country. And so this last month, though, let me tell you, President Trump's declaration of the cartels into these terrible organizations, declaring them terrible organizations. And I don't think I can say the word because, YouTube and all that, I get a shadow banned. But you understand what I'm saying. That has such huge legal implication um, for this, and he is absolutely targeting the cartel. He is absolutely going after the criminals, the narco politicians. In this just 1 month, right? He has really laid down the foundation in order to get justice, in order to make the changes necessary for us to get justice in our son's case, to get our son's remains, to get answers where our son's remains are, and also today to have FBI um, be now directed by Cash Patel. Are demanding and will reassert our letters that FBI field office in El Paso, that agent John Morales immediately ASAP go and arrest Lalani Hart. They have no excuse. I would like to say arrest so and so and arrest so and so and arrest so and so that I believe that need to be arrested. But when it comes to Lalani Hart, they have no excuse. It is all documented there under the FBI file numbers and everything. They have to in order to do their duty, they have to arrest her. It is all documented. There is no wiggle room for them. There is no even a need for us to request it, even though we have requested it. Just like we put in a request that Jaime Esparza be fired from the AUSA prosecutor Western District of Texas job. And praise God, day before yesterday, because we're at burning the midnight oil, was fired. He was fired. And we did get feedback back that our request was pivotable, pivotable. Sorry, it's late. To get him fired. So that's such great news. And then we have breaking news that is heartbreaking, and that's why when I came on, I was a little bit, just it is heartbreaking, because uh, we for a long time we were telling people that we were in the process of getting a national story in hopes of getting a national story out there about Richard's case, and that was with Reyes Mata. Okay, Reyes Mata is the national freelance journalist that we were in communication with in hopes of getting not one, but four national stories out there telling the story of how Richard's case is intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case, giving him the evidence of that and everything. And the betrayal, it's just, I tell you, you think you can't get more heartbroken, and then you're more heartbroken. It is, you know, it's just so sad, y'all. It's so sad how criminal these people are. And I don't like to play victim or anything like that. We are a Gold Star family. Our son was the victim. Our son was the victim of a horrendous crime. Young, beautiful young man. He should be married. He should have children by now, at least one child by now. And, to have communicated with Reyes Mata and be so betrayed. It's They are so evil. Bob Moore and Reyes Mata, I sometimes I have to ask God to hold me back because I just, you know, sometimes you just think, oh my gosh, you too, you need to burn in hell. You need to burn in hell. And then you're like, okay, wait a minute. God, let's move forward. It's all in your timing. It's all in your timing. This is how terrible these journalists are. They are absolutely paid and bought for by the devil himself. By the devil himself. And it's to see his wife. His wife is general counsel for the Ysleta Independent School District, and they were. It was. We needed open records because that the independent school districts have played a part in our son's case, and we needed open records, and they blocked they and Reyes, when we were looking into his wife for other reasons and the open records, he contacted us to tell us to leave it alone. And we were like, wait a minute. Why does he have now leaks? Okay, his wife is leaking to him now. Because why does he know we have an open records request in there? Right? I mean, he needs to go through the regular channels, just like we have to go through the regular channels. And now and that was our first indication. There were a couple of other indications, just the delay of everything, but an indication that he was up to no good and that we needed to leave it alone, right? But he had written some very powerful articles about the DA's office, and so he had garnered some respect from us through us reading his articles. So for him, being in communication with him, we were in hopes of getting a national story for our son in connection with the Walmart mass shooting. Absolutely the truth out there to the public. And that never materialized from him. And he was absolutely privy to information that we have. And now, with all of this stuff, with okay, so going and looking through Delirious Montanez, because she was saying that she was not a pilot, that she was not an agent for the VA, and we're like, wait a minute, you are, right? You are. We are confirming that you are. Records confirm that's what you are, and there's more. And then having to break out off that communication, another deception, right? Another very deceiving person, and that we have given all of the benefit of the doubt over these years to, not expecting anyone to be perfect, but to at least be in communication in order to further get information about our son's case and not really shut doors, right? Try to work with everybody. Um, and, to constantly being deceived. But researching her led us to finding the July 29th, 2020 article that led to discovering that Michael Maela, the director, the manager of the federal courthouse under David Guadarrama, Judge David Guadarrama's daughter is married to Patrick Crucius's brother. What? What? I mean, that is like jaw-dropping, right? Am I the only one? Is our family the only family that thinks, "What? What is going on?" And then, everything starts making sense, right? And then you're looking at Mila's family and his wife being in connection, a close connection. You cannot be in a running group going to Boston Marathon and everything like that and not know this small group well, with Tony Aoun, who is the right-hand man for Jaime Esparza. You cannot look at Michael Miela's family and not look at his son, Junior, who then you find out was working in the DA's office, working at the FBI, working for Walmart security, and is a self-proclaimed, I mean, no, a awarded hacker, knows those computers in and out, and working in the DA. And then you go, okay, he's working in the DA. When was he working in the DA? Then you go to Open Records and you're looking at his name and you're scrolling through the names of the people that are working in the district attorney's office, paid for by taxpayers' money. And what name do you see? Priscilla Mata's name. Priscilla's Mata's name. Oh, what? We know Priscilla Mata. We have open records to her. She never mentioned, we have her application for Ysleta ISD. She never mentions that she worked for years at the DA's office. She never mentions, Mata never mentioned, Reyes Mata never mentioned to us that his wife worked in the DA's office during the whole Walmart mass shooting case, that his wife worked in the DA's office when Richard was retaliated and murdered. Reyes didn't mention that to us. That he knows more about our son's case than what we were telling him. That he absolutely knows Michael Miela's working in the DA's office with his wife. Now, did he know that he's the family of Patrick Crucius? That the family of Patrick Crucius is right there in the DA's office working with his wife? I mean, he's an investigative national freelance journalist. Are you telling me that this slipped by him? Are you telling me that our son's case, which is, you can say, okay, the real high profile Walmart mass shooting, but our son's case is so big. It's so big. You're telling me that he doesn't know about our son's case? His wife is in the DA's office with Jaime Esparza, with Anthony Aoun, with Michael Miela Jr.? I am celebrating that Kash Patel is the FBI director, because this is absolutely so criminal, y'all. It is so criminal. And there's only one explanation for all of this. And January 20th, President Trump declared the cartel terroristic organizations. Anyone that is aiding and abetting, that is covering up this information to protect the trafficking network, to protect the trafficking of hundreds of thousands of children, to protect the trafficking of the narcotics, to protect the trafficking of weapons and ammunition, to protect the abuse of our benefits at the VA's office, to protect the cartel's grip on the rights of the people that own this system. This system belongs to Americans. And for the cartel to have a grip on it, to obstruct justice, to use our system paid for by our tax money to cover up their criminal activities, to cover up their crimes, including the murder of our son. Whatever happened in the Walmart mass shooting case, that was multiple shooters. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. This is so egregious. And for us to have to do the investigation, for us to have to do the documentation, for us to have to, this is, I mean, is thank you so much for your blessings and your prayer and your love. Today I really need, I am, it's so emotional because you have the 51-49 vote of Kash Patel, who is more than qualified. I mean, look at who we've had in the previous administration. And you're telling me not one Democrat wants to make America great again? Not one Democrat can vote for someone like Kash Patel, who is more than qualified to be, when you look at his qualifications and how he handled himself in those what is it, a hearing or whatever? It's just not one of them. This is the insanity. They are for the continued trafficking, the continued fraud, waste, and abuse of our country, the continued cover up of a whistleblower soldier that is retaliated and murdered, there, because that is exactly what this previous administration did, was cover this up. This is exactly what Jaime Esparza did in the DA's office and as a USA, to cover up the murder of a whistleblower soldier, Young, that was reporting on the criminal trafficking. That's exactly what Reyes Mata did. That's exactly what Priscilla Mata did. And then goes over to Ysleta, which is, I think it's the largest independent school district in the El Paso area. Gets this general counsel job. And I'm telling you, we have the open records. It looks like she knew someone because she was not the best qualified for that position. But then that was before that we knew that she had spent years over at the DA's office. Wowzer. Are you telling me that the leaders over there, that the, what are they called? The board over there at Ysleta absolutely knew that Priscilla De Mata, worked for the DA's office and allowed her to deceive the people, to allow her, to allow open records of deception to be given out to the public, that hid and deleted her professional history of years at the district attorney's office during a time of the most high profile cases like the Walmart mass shooting and the absolute treasonous murder, premeditated murder of a whistleblower soldier who was reporting on the criminal trafficking? Are you telling me that the Ysleta, what's his name? What's his name? Superintendent knew this and allowed this to take place, this kind of deception? And it's interesting that the superintendent, well, that's another bit of history that there's so much that needs to be cleaned up. And I am just grateful to God today that we have a different administration, that seems very serious of cleaning this mess up, this absolute weaponization, abuse of our beautiful system. So, and this is what we really want to relay to the public. It's not the court system or the judges' positions that are evil. It is the crime that has embedded itself that is the crime. It's not the FBI that's the crime, it's the embedded criminals. It's not the DA's office that's the crime. We need the prosecutor's office. It is the criminals that are embedded in there that is the crime. And, and on, right? And we need to identify the criminals. And that's why the arrest of the Sinaloa cartel, the old man, in Juarez just a few days ago is so important. And he cannot be extradited soon enough because he is the finance man. And he will absolutely, through their interrogation of him, reveal, we need to pray, direct evidence of who's who. Follow the money. Because it was by following the money. Who is paying Michael Mayella Jr. to be a hacker, to be data managing? Data managing. What is that? Tampering with evidence? Tampering with CCTV footage? Deleting information? Swapping information? What does that consist of? Because we know that the DA's office was up to no good. And think about the years of taxpayer money. They're talking about a dividend to the taxpayers. Well, let me tell you, El Pasoans need to get a dividend. They need to get restitution. That's the true word for the dividend the true word is restitution. And I don't think it's big enough, this $5,000. And people are like, oh, pay down the debt. No, this was taxpayers' money. Give it back to them. Give it back to them and give it back to them with interest. And we'll see what happens after that. But that's the right thing to do. In my opinion, that's the right thing to do. Because it's taxpayers' money that's been used for all of this criminal activity to pay for these criminals. This whole Walmart mass shooting case is full of criminals, and it's not, well, it might be Patrick Crusius. It includes Patrick Crusius. I guess it includes Patrick Crusius, but he definitely is not a white supremacist. He definitely should not have gotten 90 life sentences for over 7,000 years in prison. We need to have that trial and to get that information out. It needs to go into the hands. Whoever gets that AUSA job needs to absolutely transfer that Walmart mass shooting case to like another well, to the AG. It could be to the AG Paxton. It could be to San Antonio, um, where that's where it all needs to come out, because the criminals that have embedded themselves, like Joe Spencer, like David Guadarrama, like Sam Madrano, like Felix Valenzuela, like I always forget the other guy's name, um, like Bill Hicks, like Jaime Esparza. And are they just too big to jail? Are they just too big to prosecute? Are they just too big? Is it just too big to hold them accountable for their criminal activity? Years of criminal activity on the taxpayer's dime? Like Michael Maella and his family. His daughter is married to Patrick Crucius's son. She never came out and said, "Hey, wait a minute. We need to separate ourselves because I'm in love with Blake Crucius. So we need to separate ourselves. We cannot be part of the Walmart mass shooting." The Walmart mass shooting needs to go to some other federal court, like down in San Antonio or in Austin or wherever, a different jurisdiction, because I want to marry Blake and I'm praying for Patrick, right? I mean, something like that. Where is Lorraine? Yeah, I hope I'm saying her Lorraine. Where is Lorraine? She doesn't care about the well-being of her family as far as the rule of law. I mean, if you don't want the rule of law for your family, what are you saying? You have a rule for your family, but everybody else has to obey the law or something? I mean, she's a big influence there in El Paso. It is, to me, and the retaliation that we have received, and the absolute vile, vulgar messages that that were just nonstop, calling me every name in the book, calling our family every name in the book, the members of our family every name in the book, being very personal, being very always laced with all this sex cult stuff. I mean, they are just so disgusting. And, why does the Maella family get to be in the federal courthouse, have all of this conflict of interest? Um, and then we hear that maybe she got some jobs out of it. Did they get paid out of all of this? Make money off of all of this? Well, her son was in the DA's office during the whole time. It's just, it is so crazy. But this whole thing with Priscilla Mata, and I've been holding on for it for 2 days. We're really checking. Absolutely, she's in the DA's office during that whole time for years. And he doesn't tell us. And he's writing stories about the DA's office. And we have proof that we write for an open records. We're trying to get to the bottom of who murdered our son and where our son's remains are. Of course, we have the prime suspect of Dallas Hart, prime suspect Leilani Hart, prime suspect Tavita Nusa. But why aren't they? Why? What in the heck is going on? And where are our son's remains? And Reyes Mata's playing games with us? Very evil games? and we have proof that he was getting inside knowledge, that leaks were happening to him because he contacted us and revealed it to us. It's not like we would have dug for it. No, he just dropped it right in our lap that he had, which is a very intimidating, that they use that for intimidation. Like I've got connections. I'm getting, it's kind of like Tavita Newsom, Leilani Hart being leaked, Judge Roger Rodriguez's whistleblower complaint that named them as suspects in the murder of our son's case, in tampering with our son's case, named them as the suspects in this murder case. And what did Eddie Nieto do? Not only leak the information that someone had, blew the whistle on them and named them in the case, but also leak Judge Roger Rodriguez's name to the very suspects. And then Bob Moore used the very suspect for retaliation. That's why Leilani Hart was, out for retaliation. And the public doesn't understand that. We have to go and do open records, and put everything together, taking years to put everything together. And the public, they're busy working. They're busy with their lives. They trust in the media. And then you have someone like Reyes Malta and Bob Moore that are absolutely fake news then, or compromised. Compromised. Well, Bob Moore, he's fake news. Reyes Mata, totally compromised now. And he has some talent. It's so heartbreaking. Because they are not afraid to sell their soul out to the devil. They're not afraid to do it because there's no oversight. There's no restraining the evil. We have to hold these people accountable because the poison is real. The 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 poison of this criminal mind, this larceny of the heart. And I recommend that book, Larceny of the Heart. There's a book called Larceny of the Heart. And I recommend it. Wow. Because you can pinch yourself and kick yourself back in place when that starts poisoning you, to get you back in the ethical frame of mind, to not fall into the pit that Reyes Mata fell into. And it's just, yeah. That's why the cartel being designated terroristic organizations is so important. Because how many other people are going to be poisoned by the larceny of the heart, by the cartel? Billions of dollar business, y'all. It's so easy. It's so easy to pay off these people and manipulate them and then turn them into orcs. It's a very real poison. It's kind of like, what is that? A Spider-Man and what is that one, black spider or whatever? And it's just this a venom. This venom. The venom is spiritual, right? It's a spiritual venom. And it just blackens your heart. It turns your heart like stone. And the worst one is this larceny of the heart, right? Where just greed takes over. Absolute greed. And it doesn't matter how much talent you have or that you have children that watch and it's kind of like this whole thing with Shaky Jake, Jerry Jacobitz, he has children that watched. His children know what he is. Now Reyes Mata's children know what he is and know what his mother is because this it's so bad. And that's why it's heartbreaking. You think that that makes us happy? We trusted Reyes. We weren't even, yelling at him or being hard with him that he never produced a story. We knew that, there that he had bent, but we didn't know that he sold his soul off. It's, um, yeah, and we're it's so emotional because we know the reckonings here that there is a new sheriff in town and his name is President Trump. And he has now put in place real hitters, hard hitters like Pam Bondi, like Kash Patel, like Pete Hegseth, like the like Elon Musk, and I could just go down through it with the finance guy and the CIA guy, and um, these are really at least they're very well qualified for their positions, and they've made promises, and so far they've kept a lot of promises. And they just fired Jaime Esparza. And we were then notified that our letter was part of that. That that is a working towards trust and loyalty and promises made and promises kept um and we absolutely understand what is going on in Mexico because our son's case involves the Chihuahua Attorney General's office, involves the infiltrators and also the trafficking cartel, I shouldn't say that, the terrible organization that that they have to deal with in their country. And President Trump is working with them in Mexico. We have boots on the ground for quote unquote training missions. And we're hearing that they have the Warthog, that they have I even wrote it down, the Reaper drones and the Eye in the Sky and the Dream Team. And yeah, they've got boots on the ground with equipment for training mission, quote unquote. And so things are happening legally and even kinetically. And it's So we're going to continue. We did not mean to find this. This is, like God wants us to reveal all of this stuff, and the media is, you know, we've got to expose the media. I mean, they are absolutely just not not doing their job. The mainstream media. I mean, look how they reported on Jaime Esparza. And El Pasoans got it. They were like, he was fired. He was fired. He was fired, y'all. He was fired. And the mainstream media wants to sugarcoat it. And you know what that is? That's protecting the cartel. That's protecting the traffickers. That's protecting the criminals. That's what that is. And right now, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but is that treasonous? Because if you're aiding and abetting that kind of criminal activity that are now labeled the terrible organization, designated the terrible organization, is that treasonous now to for the media to be doing that? I don't know. Especially if you're a 501c3. I don't know. Let the lawyers figure that out. And they're coming. That silver star, that silver star. And I really like that, the new sheriff in town and the big silver star. And I really like that because, of course, you've got the big star in El Paso on the mountain, on the Franklin Mountain. Anyway, so thank you so much, everyone. This is for a good cause. And we got to do this together. So please share. Please tell everybody about what's going on. Don't hold back because you see, the media must be super important, right? The First Amendment must be super important for it to be such a big deal. That means communication with one another is so important. And to block the news is like one of their first things they want to do. And so for you to share, you can share it in your own way, is super important. So share the content, share what's happening, because this is what is going to drive even this administration, which is, like uh, the most magnificent type of horses riding into El Paso, right? They're already fit and amazing, and they're riding in, but to drive them even more, fuel them, drive them to do the right thing, because no matter who we are, we have tendencies to go off path a bit, right? To stray. And we all need the help to keep us in the right lane, to keep us in the right direction. And so that is you and me, and everyone else demanding justice, demanding that the cartel, you got to be careful. You have that the wheat and tares parable, right? You don't, and I've been very cautious about that, especially like with Boleyn, and I know she's a bad player in all of this. I know that, right? But uh, let's get to the root of this, right? And you have to follow the money, and have to get hard evidence, and you have to do it right through our system, our beautiful system. And when you start learning that Texas Constitution, when you start learning our Constitution, you go, oh, this is this really protects people. And at the same time, it's tough. It's very tough on criminals. And we need to apply it. And so that's what we're advocating for, the rule of law. The rule of law. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. And we will be back tomorrow, God willing.